Good morning, dear students. Welcome to the science part. Today we will start our topic measurement of time. As you know that we have already gone through the topic of speed in this chapter, and in the topic measurement of time, units of time, and we'll do the reading from page number 146 to 148. Children, we have learned about the speed, that the distance covered by an object in unit time is called speed. And we have also find out the formula for speed is total distance covered, total time taken. And if the object moves with constant speed, it is called as uniform motion, and if it keeps changing, it is called as non-uniform motion. Later on, we have learnt about measurement of time. You know that the working of clock is very complex, but we people use clocks for measuring the time interval. Okay, clocks or watches are perhaps the most common time measuring devices, and the clock working is very complex, but still clocks are using periodic motion, and the very best example of it is pendulum, simple pendulum. Children, you know that while measuring time, if you do not have the clock, you were deciding the time by looking at the shadows on the ground, right? Our ancestors noticed that many events in nature repeal themselves after definite interval of time. So they found that sun rises every day, time between the sunrise and the next was called a day. A month was measured from a new moon to the next new moon. In this way, time was measured in the ancient time. Working of clock is rather complex, but all of them use some periodic motion, and the most well-known periodic motion is that of a simple pendulum. So what is it all about? A simple pendulum has a small metallic bob which is suspended from a stand by a thread. And you know, if the bob is taken to one side and released, it moves to and fro. And to and fro motion of the simple pendulum is called periodic motion or oscillatory motion. Here you can see, children, the to and fro motion of a pendulum, which we call as periodic motion or oscillatory motion. Now, when it is said that the pendulum has completed one complete oscillation or one complete motion, children, when the bob moves from the mean position O to A, from mean position O to A, and A to B, and B to O, this complete one distance going and coming back, it is called as one oscillation. Children, also you can calculate the distance from one extreme position A to another extreme position B, then from B to A. In this way also you can calculate the one oscillation of a pendulum. Now what is the time period? The time period is the time which is taken by pendulum to complete one complete oscillation. These are the terms you need to note down, children, as a definition. And you have got an activity. I hope you all have tried to perform a simple pendulum with a thread length about 1 meter. And you should try to calculate the time taken for 20 oscillations. So what will be the time period of that particular pendulum? Keep on changing the size of the thread while taking the 3 different readings. Now here we comes to another part of the chapter, units of time and speed. The basic unit of time is a second, and its symbol is S. So larger units of time are minutes and hours. And you already know these units are related to one another, right? So what would be the basic unit of speed? Since the speed is distance per unit time, the basic unit of speed is meter per second. And it could also be expressed in other units like meter per minute or kilometer per hour. Children, you know that the symbols of all the units are generally written in singular, like 50 kilometer, not kilometers or centimeters. Even Buja was wondering about how many seconds there are in a day. So we already have the counting of everything. And there is an interesting story about the discovery that the time period of a given pendulum is constant. Children, there was a famous scientist Galileo Galilei, and it was said that once when Galileo was sitting in a church, he noticed that the lamp suspended from a ceiling with a chain was moving slowly from one side to another. So, of course, by looking at this, he was so surprised that his pulse beat the same number of times during this interval. So, he started calculating. He started counting the one oscillation is equal to his one beat. So, he experimented with various pendulums to verify the observation, and he finally found that for a particular length of the string, the same time to complete one oscillation is required by any object. And this observation led to the development of pendulum clock. Winding clocks and wristwatches were refinements of the pendulum clocks only. So in this way, Galileo Galilei has discovered that a given pendulum is having a constant time period, which is having a given particular length. By this, what we have learned, basic unit of time is seconds, larger units of times are minutes and hours, basic unit of speed is meter per second, and larger unit is kilometer per hour. Other than that, children, ancient time, there were the measuring devices used. Some of them were sundials, water clocks, and sand clock. People were using those measuring devices to calculate the time. And here you can see these examples by the shadow and the movement of water and this movement of sand. They were able to calculate the time. Here are some examples you can see. So different units of time are actually used depending on the need. For example, it is convenient to express we cannot express our age in meters or in seconds. We need to express in the number of days. Similarly, it is not wise to express years. The time taken by you to complete one distance. So this is something which we need to understand. And how small or large the object. So by the time taken in saying allowed 2001 is nearby 1 second. You can verify it by counting aloud from 2001 to 2010. So you can get a pulse of a normal healthy adult, and we can calculate the time required for telling this particular thing. So here I hope you have understood the unit and the measurement units. We will see about it further in a brief in our next video, and we will learn the last topic of the chapter, measuring speed. Till the time, your assignment is to read pages from 146 to 148. Complete your assignment on time. Feel free to ask your query. Thank you, everyone.